Hello and welcome to Leashed Dads podcast. And of course, that's Justin.
That, everybody, is Jared.
We are two leashed dads that get together to discuss our everyday lives while chained to our parental responsibilities. And this week, it's back to school season, folks. Talking about back to school.
Or, for those that have your first child, going to school for the first time. It's not just back to school, it's school season. Finally.
Yeah.
Finally, we're back in school. School is back in session.
You never do realize how depressing summer is until 8 o'clock September after Labor Day, or the day after Labor Day.
Yes, exactly.
And they're off on their own, learning all the wonderful things to learn, and not in the house.
For the moment, I guess they're not really learning anything yet. I don't know. I don't keep track of my kids' schedules, but no, I'm glad the children are back in school. We'll definitely kick off with that in a moment here. But I had a short week. Well, it's Labor Day, so happy belated Labor Day to everybody, which means everybody here, hopefully that had a day off on Labor Day, now has a short work week. So congratulations to you all. And it's nice. Again, kids are returning to school, or I've got my youngest son going to school for his first time. It is great, and it's bittersweet at the same time. I do still have one more to go through. That'll be a few years from now, but then it'll be nice because at that point, maybe there is a true career change in my life. I don't know yet. We'll see. Sadly, though, I've got some bad news. One of my van windows randomly broke.
What?
Yeah.
How does that happen?
I don't know. My neighbor had texted me saying, "Hey, I tried calling you. Wanted to let you know that your van window broke." Most of the
Which
glass
one?
was one of the passenger door, like the pull open doors, like the slide door. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was due to heat, because most of the glass was on the outside, where if somebody actually tried to break in, all the glass would have been on the inside. So it was a big mix of probably heat. I mean, we did have that nice heat wave, so that's bad. It's bad news when you have a van. But right now I've got it ghetto rigged with plastic, so keeping bugs out, keeping the rain out. I had to redo it. I used plastic wrap, and then I used like painter's tape. Yeah, that didn't hold very long. It held through the night, which is nice. But earlier today, I ended up putting duct tape on it. My fear was using duct tape was going to ruin the paint of the van. But at the same time, it's the most suitable tape that's out there that's going to hold it. So it's all good. But I'm getting it repaired on Friday here, so it'll already be repaired by the time this airs. And during this heat wave too, Sam and I had taken the kids to the park, get them out of the house. Even though, yes, people are like, "Why are you getting them in the heat?" It's just nice to get out of the house. It wasn't like, I think it was really just a lot of sun beating down on people, not so much like humid kind of heat, except for like today and yesterday.
Oh, today was nasty.
Oh yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah. But it was what it is. So that's kind of my week in a nutshell.
Yeah, well, thanks for bringing up the short week, because I love these short weeks as much as I love taking the time off. I love the short week just as much. It's like the cherry on top of the sundae. But I actually took off yesterday because my entire family, Antonio, the girls and Natalie, we went to a wedding in Verona, which is outside of Madison.
Yep.
And it was obviously in the heat. It was an old church, no air conditioning. The tiny little fans in the ceiling were going as fast as they could. But that was the only downside of the entire weekend. The wedding was absolutely beautiful. The ceremony, I got choked up as I usually do at weddings. That's just me. But it was one
Yeah.
of my cousins, and yeah, it was great. She was the first of her sisters to get married.
Nice.
One on the way, and maybe a third one. Who knows? We'll have to see. But other than that, we got some pool time in. The girls were a little bit just chaotic as they always do when we're in a hotel. But we didn't get home until kind of late afternoon on Monday. And I kind of made a rule for myself, and Natalie agreed with me that anytime we're coming back on a day we're supposed to have off, or like let's say we came back late afternoon on Sunday,
Mm.
well, I'm not going to have any time to decompress after being away for a couple days on end. And there's laundry to be done, there's shopping for food that needs to be done, there's cleaning that needs to be done. I can't go to work immediately, a couple hours after coming home from that vacation,
Yeah.
and expect myself to be fully ingrained in what's going on.
Hmm.
So really, me taking off is a courtesy to my to my employer, because I would be absolutely useless. So it benefits them that I took off.
Took off an extra day. It benefits them. Mm.
Yes,
Everybody,
yes, yes.
everybody's
Go
definitely
ahead.
different in that regards. Like, to me, honestly, there was a. I don't remember how long ago this was, but when you take a vacation, right? They say the recommended number of days away from work is like 8, because it's just enough. Apparently, it's just enough to get away, to relax, but then allow yourself to adjust, knowing that the next day you are going back to work.
Yeah.
So I do like how you have that already kind of like a strategy in a way. Take that extra day off, because, like you said, you're not going to be able to focus on anything else.
Nope.
So,
Nope. So other than that, super busy, very hot. Today it rained and then the sunshine was blaring, so it was
didn't
just
help.
I didn't want to step outside, honestly. It was so bad. I did once to say goodbye to Eleanor, or say hello to Eleanor, whatever. But it was pretty bad.
Nice. Yeah.
I'm comfortable in my basement.
You know the sad thing is, it's in my basement. I get cold, so I put on a sweatshirt. I have the AC running in our house, so I keep this sweatshirt on when I go upstairs. But then I get next to like my door to go outside. I'm just like, I don't like this anymore. I'm wearing my sweatshirt. I'm not taking it off because I know I'm just going to be down in the basement where I'm getting cold. It's just not going to be a fun time. So,
You do
um,
that year round, huh? You don't have a sweatshirt on now.
no, because I'm actually comfortable. But it's like,
Oh,
it's really like right in the first thing in the morning and everything,
yeah.
where, I mean, I even sometimes wear my shoes down in the basement, because
Okay.
yes, I wear socks, or I could wear slippers, but I prefer to wear shoes so I have some sort of like warmth, or keeping warmth at my feet. Um, that's also why I wear a sweatshirt too. But if I don't keep my temperature regulated, I start dozing off.
Like a hedgehog,
Yeah,
you go into
like a hedgehog.
hibernation. Yeah.
Yep. But I can still wake up. Thank you very much. I, I I don't have that strong possibility of not waking up from hibernation. But it's pretty bad when
Justin, a big grizzly bear.
yeah, yeah. Except my hibernation only lasts for like 5 minutes until I get warm.
As he drinks a Celsius.
Hey, this is to keep me awake. I'm gonna need it. It's gonna be a long night.
So, are you a proud daddy today?
Yes, I'm always a proud
Yes.
daddy. I am always a proud daddy. And speaking of which, I know I briefly mentioned this before. Kids are returning to school, Nico's first time in school. Um, so to preface, Nico's first day, he only goes for half days, which isn't bad. It's kind of like it is a 4K program that he's part of. And Sam has a tradition, or kind of a tradition, of dropping the kids off on the first day of school.
By
This
yourself?
Yeah, usually by herself.
Okay.
But this year it was a little different because the kids are all at different schools. So Arlo and Kane are at the same school, but Nico's at a different school. They all start at about like 8:20 or 8:30 in the morning.
Right.
Um, so the older kids got dropped off by grandma, which is how it normally runs throughout the school year, unless she has something going on where she can't do it. Um, but yesterday, with it being the first day of school, Sam took Nico, and normally she would get a picture of him, or she would take pictures. As soon as Nico got to the building, there was no turning back. He was so excited. There was no turning back, like, bye, mom. It was just like right to the teacher, into the building, and done. It makes me a proud dad to know that he is actually excited to go to school like that. And yet it's even makes me even more proud that he's excited to come home after the day too. He's not like throwing a fit saying, "Oh, I want to stay," or he's not like, "Yay, school's done," for, whatever, right? He's just happy that he's in school and actually coming home as well. And actually kind of took some heartstrings a little bit today when he saw me. Because I dropped him off, but then I had picked him up, and he was like very happy to see that too. So,
Awesome.
yep, it's like an understanding for him that he's very happy to see us or see the same person drop off and pick up, or
Right.
getting what he wants when he's like, Are you picking me up? Well, we'll see, buddy. Who knows?" So, what about you?
I'm kind of the same way, actually. I'm very proud for the same reason you are, because Eleanor loves school. She sat down in her desk the first day and started opening up her gift from the teacher, and then it was just like, okay, bye, just okay, go away.
So you
I'm
guys
where I
actually
need to
got to
be.
go into
You
the
can leave now.
room.
Huh?
You got to go into the room and sit down with her for a little bit.
We really didn't sit down. We just kind of walked her to her locker, and then sat her down on her desk.
Uh-huh.
And that's just kind of a first day thing, I guess, at the
Sure.
elementary schools, especially for kindergarten, where where the parents can kind of send their kids off in the school instead of letting them just wander in for the second time ever, by
Mm,
themselves. Yeah, there would be some teachers and guidance counselors there to direct them in the right place, but I think it's just a courtesy for the first day, because after the first day, it's not allowed. You can't even, even when you're picking up the child, you can't go in school.
right. Okay.
Right.
Yeah, we don't actually get to do that in our school buildings at all. Um, Nico, we have to park our vehicle, and we just have to stand by the doors waiting for it. We can't even, like, there's a time zone or time limit that we have, or it's a time range to drop off. Because again, class actually starts at like 8:30, so he can't be there any earlier than 8:20.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and he has to basically be picked up no later than 11:14 or whatever. Um, Otherwise, if anything's like overtime, they consider that as like a daycare at that point, and we could get charged for daycare cost at that point.
Hell no.
Yeah, exactly. But parking in his area, like in his building, is a pain in the ass. Like, there's very few parking spots, especially when you've got four classes, like four different classes there that are half day, and you've got all these parents trying to park and whatnot. Yeah, it's a pain in the ass. But needless to say, um, we we went to the meet and greet for him a couple weeks back. but we only get to stop. We only get to drop them off at the door. Teacher will be waiting
Okay.
at the door and be like, "All right, come on in." They might grab their arm, and grab them and pull them in, kind of guide them really. Um, but then after that, it's whatever. As for Kane and Arlo, they just get dropped off in the playground area, and then once it's ready to go, like I believe on the first day of school, the teachers will come out and have them line up in their respective lines, and they have it kind of labeled like kindergarten, first grade, second, third, fourth, and fifth, and then they'll line up in their respective line based on their first grade, based on the fact that it's like a first grade, and they have their line for like their teacher or whatever. So the parents we never even get to go into the school at all, except for like special events that are after school, right? Like there's choir concert or um, things like that. But it's okay. So I like your idea. I like what your school does though, letting them have that courtesy to drop your kid off at like their locker and get them kind of acquainted, um, again with the building or whatnot, make them feel
Yeah.
comfortable and know kind of guide them through again. So it can be a scary thing, but yeah, I think the thing our teachers do is they're always with them on that first day of school, anyways, um, and taking them to their room. But most of the time, they also already had dropped their stuff off too. So
Hmm. Okay.
yeah, so that's kind of our school. I mean, that's a big difference between our school areas, right? Our school districts, um, which not a bad thing, but that's probably only kindergarten for you, right?
I mean, after kindergarten, is there much need, especially if the kid has been to that school a full year beforehand? Do you need to send a first grader to sit down at the desk with you by their side? I don't think so. I mean, especially like I said, if they've been there all of last year for kindergarten, they know the school. They just got to
Right.
know their teacher in the room, and you're done.
Yeah, and that's kind of like the home. That's like the house meeting or the meeting. Your
Open house.
yeah, the open house. That's what it is. Thank you. The like
No
one
problem.
day or 2 day open house kind of thing. So
Yep.
it's nice, but yeah, no, I super excited for the year. Honestly, I can't wait to see what happens. Um, 3 of my 4 children are in school. Sorry, 4 or 5 are back in school. But
Isn't that crazy?
God, it's crazy that 2 of them are in 5th grade already. Hopefully 5th grade. Hopefully they're both in 5th grade. Um, I know one is for sure, but it's just crazy to know. You look at it and you go, Jared, we're getting freaking old. We're getting older.
Yeah,
As you
I
watch,
certainly don't feel any older. I mean, 32 isn't that old.
no, but just think, children are going off to
Ask me that
school,
question during graduation, then we'll talk.
as in like graduation of high school.
Yeah.
Okay, my last kid will be out of our hair by the time I'm 50.
Wow.
Just to put it in
Yeah.
perspective already.
I will be
Just I'm putting it in perspective.
47, 48.
I'm gonna be 50 years old by the time my last child is out of high school. It's messed up, but it's okay. I'm happy. I'm happy with my children. But yes, school season. There's. I don't know how much we want to talk really about it. I wanted to do it just because it's gonna be. I thought it would be fun. It's exciting. It's really the first or the second day of school. What does this mean for parents? Actually, I want to get an idea here. Um, for those of you that would love to participate, we do have. You can participate through an exclusive thing on Spotify here by doing. We've got a Q&A. We've also got a poll that you can do as well. I will. that will be set up. So if you want to interact with that, give us some feedback through that way. That'd be great. Um, I want to know, based on a Q&A here, two things. Two things here. What scares you the most about your children going to school? And what are you most excited for with this school season as a parent? So, Jared, let's start with you. I want to get an idea, since I have you on, here. What scares you most right now with Eleanor being your first child in school?
I don't know how to really answer this without getting too depressing. But elephant in the room, we all know what's capable at public school, any freaking school out there. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
we all know it's capable. We've all, since Columbine on, we all have seen the news and or have had relatives affected by, shootings or whatever. That still scares the piss out of me, but at the same time, well, I'll answer the second part when you ask the next question. But that is the most scary thing for me, knowing that they're in a public space that is totally out of my control, and which is why I am very strongly for homeschooling, but maybe more so at an older age, like middle school and high school, than elementary. But so I'm more scared about anything bad that can happen to them while there, and that includes bullying. I was bullied in elementary school, maybe not kindergarten, but still, and that also concerns me. So it's just the emotional damage or physical damage that my child could endure while at school. What are you scared of?
Honestly, I didn't think anything of like any type of violence, like gun violence. Um, I was more when I was thinking about this question. This is kind of one of those things where I talked to another parent the other day, actually just yesterday, and because her son just started kindergarten or 4K as well, and she's like, the one thing that I'm kind of scared of is what he's gonna pick up on in regards to attitudes, or like you said, bullying. Um, it's it's just not fun knowing that you have control, or you can control your kid's attitude at home, but you can't control what they pick up on when they go to school. So like when they meet new friends or meet their classmates, how are those classmates going to react? Um, there's definitely that's the thing that can be scary to me as well, because for the longest time you've had the control of how your children can act and behave. You can
Correct.
correct that. Yes, teachers can correct the children's actions as well. Um, but in the long run, my child's in school now, or my children have gone back to school. People start developing different habits, such as bullying, for whatever reason. Maybe there's some sort of insufficient learning at home, or there's some neglect at home, so they find ways to take it out at school. And that's kind of how a lot of bullying does happen, is something happens at home, so they use their emotions, and they find this is their way of coping, essentially. It's not still not an acceptable way. I'm not condoning bullying by any means, but at that point, they're fine. They're getting their outlet. They're using school as an outlet. That's what still scares me the most, is bullying is never going to go away, and bullying can lead to the gun violence. So really, in a roundabout way, I'm still scared of what children can pick up on. Um, But I never really thought about the gun violence or any type of like big violence before, um, as something as of recent. In the past, yes, it's come up because it has happened to us with Kane, um, where he has been on the bullying side, or he has been the bully before, but that was quickly handled, and haven't had any types of issues since. So thankfully, it doesn't. Hopefully, it doesn't change. Um, but yeah, I mean, what still scares me the most is just what kids pick up on from other kids, due to the different living environments that they come from.
Yeah, and folks, for you newcomers, we do have an episode of bullying. As to what number it was, I don't really know, but we did a couple episodes, one for sure about bullying. If you guys want to check that out on our takes about that subject,
Yes,
it got pretty intense. I remember that episode. It was intense.
there was some heat. There was definitely some heat building up, and it wasn't because we didn't see eye to eye by any means. It just became very heated because of something that was somewhat passionate about, or had
Yeah,
involved, like I said, my child. So it's very, or my children. It's a very hard thing when you know that your child has been a victim or is the bully at that point as well, or the perp. Um, And so, yes, if you like, by all means, go back. You can look it up. You take a look. It's titled "Bullying," of some sort. I don't remember what the full title is. It's been episodes, but you definitely can find it. You can even put a message on it or something to upvote it too. So, take a listen to it, as well, to cover that. Um, but yeah, so tell me, because I know I did say this is like a two-parter. Parents. What's the thing that scares you the most? Again, you can answer that question. But the second thing, what are you most excited for, Mr. Jared?
the opportunity for my child to learn more and develop more as a child, uh, especially in kindergarten. Learning to read. She already knows her letters, but learning to read and draw and sing, and just get acclimated in just the I don't know, the standard way of being human in this society, where you learn all the basics, kindergarten through fifth. I don't, writing. The world is her oyster right now. It's great. I am so excited to see what the end of the year is going to look like compared to now. I mean, she's
Mm,
already freaking brilliant, but what is it going to be a year from now? It's gonna blow me away. I know it is.
yeah, I agree. I mean, I was kind of blown away after. So my children were part of the like, a development plan because they were Arlo or Kane Arlo. They were both a little slow on speech, so they had a speech therapist when they were younger. Arlo was quickly dismissed after, I think, 4K or something like that. So his IEP, I think that's what it's called, was dismissed after his fourth or 4K. And in kindergarten, he was great. Um, there were certain things that he still needed to work on, right? And we did work with his teacher. I mean, his teacher was great. Um, all the kids ended up having some sort of homework, not like overbearing by any means. But it was help developing. So for the longest
Right.
time, because one of the focuses in kindergarten is to learn the alphabet, or make sure they have a firm understanding of the alphabet, like capital letters, the lowercase letters, um, kind of know where they're at with that. And then he also started working on his numbers. I mean, he is very good at math, apparently, at that, you know based on that level. um and then one of the things the teacher wanted him to work on was being able to do 5 plus 5, 10, kind of like at the snap of a finger, rather than having to necessarily go like, all right, one, two, like, here's your little pebbles, I guess. Put all the pebbles there. So you've got 5 pebbles here, 5 pebbles here. Now you have 10 pebbles. You're supposed to know that. You're supposed to be able to go 2, 2, 2, 4, 3, 3, 6, 4, 5, 9. Right? Just going off of that. So I mean, that was great. I think he really kind of picked up with his reading as well. She would give him books to continue with. I think he's a little behind on the literature side of things still, um, but that will probably be picked up here again as the year progresses in his first grade. So I'm excited to see really how that year pans out for him. I'm excited to see what Kane has. I think he's going to come home with some projects finally. Because if I recall in 5th grade, you started doing some projects, or I remember doing projects
Yep.
like I think we did a president. You did. I think I remember doing like research on one president, and I had
Yep.
Jimmy Carter at one point.
Hi, George Washington.
Wow. Okay, get out
Hey,
of here.
don't knock him. Come on now.
I'm only knocking on the hair. Come on. It took us how many years to get rid of? It took how many presidents to get rid of that hairstyle? That judgy hairstyle. I don't know, but
Why are
I'm
you
really
judging?
ha ha ha. I'm not judging, but I'm judging. Anyways, I am super excited just to see where my kids continue to develop, what is actually going on. I know Kane yesterday came home with something from his teacher or one of it. I guess I don't know how his 5th grade class necessarily works. I remember jumping between one of my teachers, or I technically had 2 teachers, but one had specialized in one subject and the other one specialized in the other. Um, so in regards to that, like one was more for the history and just kind of also getting you ready for like middle school, because I love how they did that, and I'll actually talk about that a little bit later as what I remember. So um but again, excited to see how Kane develops or continues his education, how Arlo is continuing his education, maybe see what they're most excited for as well here um throughout the year. But yesterday it was kind of funny when I asked, Kane was okay with it. Actually, he never even gave a response. And I asked Arlo, did you like school or did you have fun? No. His
Aw.
He's like, well, I asked him why. He's like, because a kid wasn't listening to me.
Oh, get used to it, buddy.
Right? I'm like, but you're not the boss, so he doesn't necessarily have to. Um, but then Nico's is like, I loved it. So let's see how long that lasts with him. I hopefully it does last some time, but we'll definitely see as they get older. So that's what I'm super excited for. Just the development, how excited they continue, and how they develop themselves. Um, yeah. And you said you're just ready to see how they develop from that. So all good things, guys. Again, parents, uh, for your first time or for your children that are returning to school for another year, let us know what you're most excited for. And yes, you know this might be a cheesy response too, and it's still a good response. But finally having the kids out of the house for 8 hours a day while you're doing whatever you want to do, that was my first
Work
thing. Yeah, well,
in peace and quiet.
work in peace and quiet. No, yeah, basically uninterrupted work finally. Um, that's maybe another thing I do look forward to. But I only get like 4 hours at that point. At that point, sometimes, if lucky. But we'll see. I think once all the kids are in school, it'll be definitely different. Maybe like I said, I think this is a far endeavor still. Or once my youngest is in school full time, I think I'll be excited to maybe pursue a different career if I haven't already by that time. But we'll see. So, what else? I mean, I guess with the school season, children are back in school 8 hours a day. It's a glorified babysitting experience. They get an education. We get 8 hours or so away from them. Is there anything that you would like to? I mean, this is still part of the excitement, I guess. Um, maybe actually, let's put it this way: is there anything you're looking forward to most at that point? Um, in relations to the school curriculum?
Oh, I can't wait for her to learn how to read. Writing, I don't know,
You should
but
care about the
reading.
writing, but what about extracurricular activities? I mean, okay, because when she starts learning how to read, that also means you're going to have to sit with her probably if you haven't done that already and teach, work with her on reading or whoever's going to do that, right? That's kind of
Yeah,
one of
we
those
do
things.
on and off.
Okay. I know I'm kind of looking forward to seeing how that develops as well. Um, I'm kind of waiting to see when Kane's teachers will start making that come out or enforcing the reading or even whatever else they may have. I know nowadays a lot of kids don't actually come home with homework as they get a chance to do it in class,
Yeah,
which is okay, I guess for the longest time. I mean, it would make me a hypocrite for saying, okay, I think they should come home with homework when when I was a child, I'm like, why am I coming home with homework? I'm a kid. I want to do what I want to do. To me, coming home is getting away from school now after 8 grueling hours. Um, so does it make me a hypocrite for me wanting my kids to come home with homework when I had to go through the same thing?
I don't know. I'm kind of torn on the fact because I got repeatedly slammed every grade that I was in, including college, that I always had at least an hour and a half worth of homework every night during the school year. And now, talking with some of the parents of older kids who are in high school and middle school now, well, the teachers give them time to do it in school. Well, why didn't I get that time? Oh, well, maybe I did, and I used it talking to the chicks and drawing pictures of cars. I don't know, but I feel I didn't get enough time to do the work in school, especially when there was stuff to do online, like essays and papers. They didn't truck us to the computer lab on a daily basis to get that shit done. No, it
Nope.
was all on our own. All on our own.
Like I don't even remember how we're supposed to necessarily get it done either, because you for one class, like you said, they didn't necessarily get you to the computer lab every single day to get it done. You didn't if I don't even remember if not all of us actually necessarily had flash drives at that point either. So all your work
Well,
was,
actually, we even had floppy disks.
yeah,
That was a long time ago,
floppy.
but
I remember having a floppy disk in grade school. Like flash
yep,
drives wasn't a thing for us until like middle school, I think, at that point.
yep.
So no, it was, yeah, it doing essays. I would say it was very difficult because if you're not able to do it or get it done at school, it's now you have to bring it home, or if you didn't have a flash drive, you can't necessarily do it until you're in the lab. And at that point, you're being very productive, or what you had to do. So,
Yeah, and another reason why I am so bitter on the whole homework thing when I was in school is that those books were heavy as shit, and I walked to school, and
oh,
I still swear that's part of my back problems to this day is carrying at least 25 to 30 pounds on my back for a couple miles.
uphill both ways in the winter.
Oh yeah, no shoes, Kleenex boxes,
I'm so sorry that you had wet feet all the time.
no jacket, just hoodies.
That part's your own damn fault.
No, I always wore a jacket. You needed a place to put your Walkman.
That's true.
I
That's
didn't
true.
always have hoodies that fit. So
Yeah. No, I remember. I remember like going to a bus stop in high, just at that time. At some point in winter or whatever, I would still try to walk out with sweatshirts. I wouldn't care. Eventually, it did get cold enough that it's like, okay, time for a jacket. Um, there are definitely, I don't know. College was a different story for sure. Maybe not always wearing jacket, but I think I was brought up pretty well that I didn't want to necessarily get sick or feel like an idiot um, because I wasn't dressed appropriately.
did you own a jacket in college? I don't
Yeah,
remember you wearing one.
I did. I was
Okay.
always, but I was always in a sweatshirt anyways. So it's like
Right.
I had like, my shirt on, I had my sweatshirt on, I had my jacket on. I got into the classroom or wherever I'm at, take my jacket off, and I'm just in a sweatshirt. Um, Even to this day. Now it used to be really, I think, really bad in high school or something like that because I would always wear like a black sweatshirt. High school and middle school, I would always wear like black sweatshirts, even during like summer when it was really warm out. I had that. I think I had that sweatshirt phase. Don't know. It's just nowadays I go like being how I am now, but that's a whole different
Well,
story.
that can't be any worse than me having my beanie phase in the dead of summer. And I had the long hair down my chin, and I just wore a beanie in the summertime. And
You're a
what
freaking
idiot!
hippie at
Come
that
on now,
point. You're
huh?
a hippie. Hippie. No. Um, you got me. No, so at this point, even talking about that too, I want to kind of reminisce because school season is still huge. So this is also another time for parents and us, as we're doing right now, just reminiscing about those times in school. Um, what was really like your favorite moment? And it doesn't have, it could be from any type of schooling. It could be from your college years, your high school years, middle school years, hell, even those grade school years. What was your favorite time in any class?
Oh, it has to be in class. Okay.
Well,
Then
it doesn't have to be in
okay.
class, but just kind of
No, it has to be in class. Otherwise, I'm going to go somewhere where we don't want to go.
okay,
So,
okay.
in class, well, it's amazing to think that I still remember something from fourth grade, but I actually remember stuff back until probably second or third. But my teacher had went away on a vacation for a good 2 weeks, and she was my favorite teacher. And she brought back the class each a pack of Bubblicious bubble gum to
What?
say, yes, this was in fourth grade. Pack of Bubblicious for each of the students, and I got to pick my favorite, which is the cotton candy, the blue one.
Okay, nice.
So that's more of a touching one. Another one that really always sticks in my head is when we all in high school we all hated this one teacher. Everybody in the class hated this one teacher, so the entire class pulled a prank on the teacher, and we broke her projector when really we just put a piece of paper over the light bulb so it wouldn't work.
Oh, it was one of those projectors still? Like you had the lamp and then
Yep.
oh
So we put a
man.
piece of paper over the lamp, and she couldn't figure it out. So she spent 45 minutes of the class going back and forth from the library and the tech office to try to get it fixed. And we were all just in on it. So it was perfect. It was great.
I guess
One of
yeah,
the
even
first
in
and
high
only
school
times.
I guess even in high school there were still those things out there too, right? Those
Our school was cheap
projectors.
as hell. We didn't do those
Oh,
Elmo shit.
it didn't matter. I mean, even like a decent well, I can't say decent high school because all high schools are decent in their way, right? Um but even the high schools with the money, I guess at that point, they might have still had those uh, projectors with the lamp and the clear.
That was probably 2006, 2007.
I don't even remember when they necessarily got rid of them. I just know in my high school at one point we started getting smart boards. Even actually, I think of one of my middle school classrooms, they were starting to test like the smart boards where you could connect it to the
Yeah.
computer and then you can use like the 3 little pens that are on there and the eraser. Um, yeah, I'd love to see what it's like in high school now or just in those classrooms now. Um, but it was very interesting. So for me, um, this is just one of those things here. Back in 5th grade, I this is uh, a time where we're doing assignments and everything. Um, but one of my friends and I, we would it was like a little, I think it was a science type of, I think we were in the science subject at the time, but we were doing a reaction test, how fast you could react to grabbing the paper after the person
Oh,
would let go.
uh-huh.
We were skewing our results in a way because we'd have the person that was dropping the paper be like, I'm dropping it, letting them know that I'm dropping it. So are we messing with the results? Sure. But at the same time, it's like testing another experiment because I could say I'm dropping it. How fast are you still going to react to it? Right? Just because I say it, it still might take a little bit for the brain to process after what the person is saying. Um, but it did, based on some of the results from what I remember, it did help with the reaction time being a little faster than just watching it visibly. So, um, yeah, that was always a fun time, messing the results up rather than uh, doing the. Even though we did the assignment at first, it was just like, all right, we kept going, we kept having fun with it. Um, I think that's actually one of my favorite things is like the grade school era or the grade school periods,
Oh,
because
yes.
everybody at that point, yes, you are still innocent as hell. So it's not like you had that development of cliques at that point, right? So everybody is still, yeah, you're right. You start developing, but I myself, I was still a social butterfly as hell. Okay, I was
Yeah,
one of the
same.
social butterflies. I didn't matter who it was. I would talk to this person, this person, this person, this person, whatever. Um, but I think that's still one of my favorite things about grade school period is knowing everybody and still being able to talk with everybody, not feeling like you're being segregated from a group
Yep.
because whatever. Um, but I think the hardest thing for me though at that point was grade school. For me, I had moved around 3 times,
Okay.
so this is something that just was messed up, right? The first time I moved, I was 5 years old, so just before kindergarten or just at the kindergarten time, I moved down to Georgia from Wisconsin. So I went from like kindergarten and first grade in Georgia. Then I moved to Oklahoma for like second grade and third grade. And then I moved back to Wisconsin. So I made friends in each state that I was in. And it sucked being the new kid for the time being. But at the same time, because the thing I hate about being a new kid is some of these people that have already been in school together. Again, I guess this is still part of that clique thing, but still trying to find out how you can be invited in. But at the same time, I think as grade school, it is easier to be accepted because everybody's still innocent and
Right.
not necessarily developing like, oh, well, I'm a jock because I like to play sports, or hey, I'm a nerd because I like to play card games, or you know, I like to play video games, or I'm just a techie, things like that. I mean, granted, okay, look at a jock. They probably like to play sports, but at the same time, somewhere down the road, they still have that connection to being very techy or tech like, nerd like at that point. I'm not saying it's a bad thing by any means, but you definitely start in high school, middle school, high school. You start developing those cliques of what you
Right.
really are more interested in, and hiding and pushing the other things aside. So, I mean, that was a hard part for me though, was being the new kid a couple times, but still, I was accepted as well because again, I think being young, you don't really care about what's going on. I mean, you're still in a small enough classroom. You still have your people you're with you were with for 8 hours a day. You're not going here's a middle school class. You have this person. Oh, but now you have another class and you've got a different group of people that you could be with. Um, you're in the same classroom with the same people 8 hours a day. So, what about you? I know that was a big rant right there. But what's something another story or some maybe I know I liked your story about the bubble gum from your teacher. um, I can't think of any bad teacher I really had though, or a teacher that I hated. No,
I had a few, but what's your question? Another story.
yeah. What's another story or maybe what was your favorite uh, range, like kindergarten through fifth, or I guess breaking it down from grade school, middle school, high school. Uh, and I asked this because I just I wouldn't say I found out recently, but the Appleton Area School District had sixth grade in the same building as K through five, so it was actually K through six, and then they had the junior high, so seven and eighth. Whereas this is a little different from how I know it, where what me being in the Kimberly Area School District, my school or elementary schools were K through five, and then middle school was sixth through eighth, and
Same.
then high school. So I don't. I was curious. That's why I'm asking because I don't want to assume that because I had the K through five and then sixth, seventh, and eighth in middle school. If everybody else had the same thing. So guys, tell me, what is your favorite range for your? You know what grade range was your favorite? Based on that. Did you have more fun when you were in grade school, middle school, high school? If you went to college, um, or if you didn't go to college, why? Tell me even why you didn't go to college. Love to hear those stories too. Maybe we'll share them too if you tell us.
Yeah. Share. Send us an email, Facebook
If you want, you can
comment.
even send us a voice message on Spotify.
Yeah, that too. So,
So,
but for me, I don't really have a range. I have great third through fifth. Yeah, third through fifth, and then eighth grade, and then sophomore through senior. Freshman year was terrible,
hmm,
absolutely
yeah,
terrible.
I can kind of agree with that. I mean, there were some things. There was like one memorable thing that made freshman year terrible. Um, not gonna share that story right now, but yeah, I mean, there was actually a couple things, but one of them was really severe. But I think just knowing grade school and everything, being so innocent at that level, I think made for the best years. Even though like you get to the point where you meet like counselors in high school and they say, "Yeah, the next 4 years are going to be the best years of your life." No, grade school, because you're still a kid. You really had, like, no care in the world. You're able to live almost carefree. I I still miss those days.
Yeah.
But Final thoughts at all, Jared? Before we go get some laughter here.
No, I think I'm good. Just encourage your kids to learn, read, develop. Give them that little extra time throughout the day or throughout their time at home, just to have them know that you're thinking about them and you want to help them if they ever need it.
Yep.
So
Practice with them, even though they may not want to do it. Even practice is still going to help them, especially with the reading. I know that seems to be, I think, probably the biggest struggle for anybody is the lack of wanting to continue reading. Um, so I agree, Jared. Encourage them to do things like that. Um, heck, one last thing. It's a little side rant here. My son Kane, I shared this before in past episodes. He got a phone recently. Um, Even when he didn't have a phone and he used other people's phones to, talk to like myself or his mom, and he was trying to send a text message, right? He wouldn't type. He likes to use the voice to
oh
text speech, right? Or speech to text. We are now trying to encourage him to text it out. Even if he's trying to look something up. It's like, no, you need to type it out because a voice to text is not always going to give you the results you need. Now, so far he's gotten lucky, but then again, I think that's where technology's come through. But he's missing out on the actual spelling of things. And what still drives me nuts is he's in 5th grade now. He should know how to spell a majority of the words.
right.
But that's a whole nother thing. It's still an encouragement, though. Work with them on spelling, practice. That's a huge thing we've enforced at home, too, is making, when they start the spelling, they write the words out 10 times each night. Or how, Sam had come up with a different thing. Work on spelling the first night, spelling every word 10 times. Then the next night or whatever, she would do something, have, work with him on, she would read the word. He would have to spell it out loud. If he got it wrong, he would have to, do it again 10 times or whatever. And he had to work on those words. So each time he got a word right, he wouldn't have to spell it anymore or write it down. So different methods are for different people, but great practice. So just encourage your kids to practice reading, practice spelling. That's going to be very critical. Even practice their math with them so they can, because I remember doing flashcards, but that's a whole, we can even come back to school season or whatnot and talk more about developing your children at home when they're not at school or having to practice some of that school work at home. So they're not necessarily falling behind their classmates. So guys, without further ado here, let's talk about some jokes because I know Jared needs a laugh. I hope. I know he said he had a good week, able to get out of his slump in a way. But here, which school supply is king of the classroom?
The ruler.
A ruler. Very good. Very good. It's not so funny now, is it? Um, what is a witch's favorite subject in school? Spelling.
Oh my god. Yeah.
uh, all right. All right. Which letter of the alphabet has the most water? The C.
Very clever. I like that.
Yeah, I liked it too. It's still a good one. It got me too. All right, here's another one that actually got me too, and I'm like, this is really clever. Why did the teacher draw on the window?
Bye.
Because he wanted his lesson to be very clear. Hey guys, I appreciate it. Jared and I both appreciate your support and your continued support, your new support. Again, if you want go and do the Q&A or the poll that we'll have on for this episode. It is on Spotify. If you want to leave us a message, you can do that as well. Again, that's all exclusive to Spotify. So go ahead and do that. Otherwise, you can find us on Apple, Apple and Google Podcasts, YouTube, uh, snippets of TikTok here, and Facebook. You can, DM us on Facebook, Leashed Dads. And then even like Jared said as well, send us an email, leashdads14@gmail.com. Without further ado, guys, thank you, and we'll see you next time.